Howdy folks, and welcome to another Taste of Gameplay video, this time for the Russian Tier 10 premium cruiser, the Smolensk. This game is going to be really great. Even if you don't particularly have an interest in the Smolensk or even my channel, I highly recommend watching this game all the way to the end because it is the best of what World of Warships can bring to the table. The first thing to notice about this game, and I am not a submarine or aircraft carrier hater. I've played both of them. I play them on this channel. However, I have a lot of sympathy for folks who believe that World of Warships is at its best when it's just surface ships, and this is one of those games. This is a tier 8 through 10 surface ship only game that's going to go almost the distance. It's going to go to like 15 minutes out. Not to give anything away, but it's going to end with a ram. There's going to be intrigue. It's like, what's the Princess Bride line? There's romance, there's sword play, there's all kinds of different ships in this game. What I'm doing right now is sketchy in the extreme. I'm trying to help my flank, right? Should be running my hydro. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. The Smolensk. So most of you already know what the Smolensk is. You either have one and you enjoy it, or you wish you could have one and you don't. It used to be absolutely one of the best ships in the game. It has been a little bit power crept, and the evidence for that is directly, I believe, on the opposing team. Yes, there's a Hawaii on the opposing team. So nowadays, the Smolensk is not as exciting as it used to be. However, it is still a formidable opponent, mostly, if not entirely, because of the 16 shells it puts out, 4 quadruple turrets, 130 millimeter, 22 millimeters of penetration, 8% fire chance HE every 4.5 seconds. And I gotta tell you, it is actually super fun to fire 16 shells out of these guns every 4.5 seconds. It has a very satisfying impact. The shells are somewhat floaty, but actually a lot less floaty than most ships that have its potential. In other words, most high volume HE spammers actually have much floatier shells. These are reasonably easy to get on target. In fact, it's a little bit of a downside right now because it makes it slightly harder to shoot over islands, which is frankly where the Smolensk is best. The Smolensk does have smokes. It only has 2, and I am currently running a 17-point captain, and I did not take the skill to give me a 3rd smoke, so I do in fact only have 2 smokes, which is going to be a bummer later on. The Smolensk is absolutely lethal to any destroyers that it can get a beat on. It does have some other aspects. It's got heals, it's got hydro, it's got torpedoes, but really it all comes down to these 16... Did I mention 16 shells every 4.5 seconds? And again, until recently, until the introduction of a few ships like the Barbiano and the Hawaii, I mean, this was like totally absurd, right? A completely insane amount of firepower. Nowadays, not quite as exciting, admittedly, but still you can rack up a lot of damage. I already have 50k in this game. I'm going to have some reasonably good battle impact, but this game is not just about the Smolensk, it's about the game itself, and this is a heck of a game. It's going to be dead even right up until the end. Some good choices will be made, some bad choices will be made on both my part as well as my teammates and the enemies, and yeah, it's going to come right down to the wire. Really hard to get a beat on this Jaeger. Watch those shells just bracket him completely. The Jaeger's just really small, but yeah, he's done that. GQ Johnny, he got way too close. So we did it. We capped A, right? Now we have to clean up all these ships. And this is something that, frankly, the Smolensk is really good at. So all I got to do is get my guns on target and just start clicking that button and don't stop clicking. So what are the downsides with the Smolensk? Well, there's several. One is that it's actually kind of slow. It's a little pokey. It's like 34 knots, which is okay, but not terribly exciting. But the big one is the armor. It basically has none. It is the quintessential light cruiser. Back in the day, I think when the Smolensk was created by Wargaming, they were still game balancing pretty much by just turning up the offense and turning down the defense on ships. And since the Smolensk was perceived to have an extreme level of offense, which I think is true, or at least was true when the Smolensk came out, then they had to give it an extreme level of lack of defense. So it has just no armor. You're going to see one of the more interesting gameplay aspects to the Smolensk, which is kind of legendary and is a little bit of a meme, but you're going to see it actually work later. If you know, you know. Maybe I'll hold my tongue until we get to it. But anyway, it's related to the armor. But yeah, I mean, I'm just like farming damage. I mean, this is basically, if you wonder where the term HE farming came from, it pretty much came from the Smolensk. I mean, just watch what I'm going to do to this Massachusetts, right? Every 4.5 seconds, I'm just hammering him for 2,400, 2,500, 2,600 damage, not to mention continually setting fires. I mean, the damage potential here, if you have a Smolensk that is allowed to just farm damage on your ships, on your team, you're just going to lose the game. I mean, you cannot let a Smolensk just sit there and machine gun your battleships or your cruisers or even your destroyers. I mean, it's just too much damage. I don't know how it stacks up to the Hawaii. I haven't done like a frame by frame comparison. I played the Hawaii a couple times. The Hawaii also has an absolutely absurd volume of fire. I'm curious now. I may have to go look up some videos if anybody's done, because that's the obvious comparison here. The difference is the Hawaii sits on an Alaska hull, so it has more HP. It has way better armor, which can be a good or bad thing. Again, you're going to see later that having less armor can be good. So far, this has been an absolutely ideal situation for a Smolensk. We won this flank. They had to push into us, which they didn't. They started kiting away, but that wasn't a winning strategy. I was able to fire over islands into superstructures and cruisers, and I, as a result, have 108,000 damage. So great. That was phase 1 of the game. Unfortunately, we're about to head into phase 2. I mean, we're still winning this game, but it's not nearly as, I was saying in other videos how sometimes it looks like you're winning and you're not. Sometimes it looks like you're losing and you're not. It looks like we're winning by a lot, but actually I was nervous about this game. And the reason is because, again, as it always is, positioning. We're out of position. We've got that poor Rochester all by himself, all the way up there at C. He's toast. Then that split is all by himself at B. He's kind of toast. And the worst possible news is this cyclone has come in, which means that since we're spread all out, all over the map, they can just take us on one at a time. And that's exactly what they're going to do. And we have to push into them. And if there's one thing the Smolensk is not good at, it's pushing in open water without any more smokes. So I have to cross that gap between A and B. I mean, otherwise I'm useless because of the cyclone, right? I can't even do the normal thing of like firing over that island in front of me because the cyclone. So this is an unusual set of circumstances, but it's kind of a worst case scenario for the Smolensk. And there's really not much I can do. I mean, I have to help my team. I mean, I can't just like sit here at A. That would be cowardly and dumb. Arguably, I'm going to play this wrong. I think I'm going to play this a little too aggressively. There's a chance here I might have been able to get into this GQ Johnny's smoke screen and not get spotted by the Libertad. My hope was that the Libertad would have kind of like tunnel vision and be shooting at the Monarch and then not realize he could shoot at me. But my backup plan, and this is where the armor comes into play, is to deploy the overpen tech. What is the overpen tech, you may ask? Well, the armor on the Smolensk is so bad and the ship is so narrow that actually most tier 10 battleship AP shells will go all the way through the ship. They will not have time to arm inside the citadel. And so even though they go through your citadel, they will not citadel you. And in fact, they'll do very little damage. And you're going to see that right about... it's coming up here any second. He's going to choose to take a shot at me. This is his last shot of the game. Here the shells come in, and nothing. Another set of shells, nothing. That's entirely... one could argue it's cheesy, but I mean, you know, it's not cheating, right? It's just that that's the game mechanics. It's a known thing that you can do in the Smolensk and in a couple of other cruisers. Unfortunately, it has now ceased being useful, right? I'm trapped. I'm in open water. I've got 4 ships that can all see me because of this stupid radar. Sometimes I hate radar. And yeah, I'm done. I mean, I can't even see any of them. This is like worst case scenario. The smoke's not doing me any good. I got Des Moines of all things ahead of me. Des Moines has got to be Smolensk's absolute worst nightmare because it also has a pretty high volume of fire. It's got AP shells that are basically perfect for penning and to getting full pens on a light cruiser. I mean, he's going to absolutely murder me. Absolutely murder me. I'm lucky I get any damage in at all on this guy. And that's it. That's the end of my Smolensk. It is not the end of the game. So now the tables have turned, right? It really looked like we were winning before, didn't it? And we weren't. Now it looks like we're done, right? We're losing. I mean, he's going to sink the Ibuki. Des Moines is going to sink the Ibuki. Luckily, the Slava, I think, here is going to sink him. Maybe not. I know he does get sunk here pretty soon. Anyway, now it's 4-on-2. So now we're clearly losing, right? You can tell by the way I said that we're not losing. So the Ibuki gets his revenge, right? Okay. Forgot exactly how that happened. So now it's 3-on-2. Right, we got a Des Moines and a Donskoy against an Aegir and a Slava. Who's going to win? Put your bets. Place your money. I am not intimately familiar with the Aegir or the Donskoy. I don't know exactly. I mean, I know they're both in the more heavy cruiser vein. You know, they're reasonably well armored. They have pretty high caliber AP, but I don't know who to bet on in this one. The Donskoy is choosing to angle, and he's shooting AP. The Aegir is slightly less angled, and he's shooting HE. I don't know what the winning strategy is. I know the Aegir has some secondaries. Those are probably helping out. But, you know, it's definitely super close. I think if I remember correctly, yeah, meanwhile, you know, on the other side of the cap, I got a Hawaii and a Slava. I mean, it's just a really interesting... This is like straight up... This is just World of Warships in a nutshell over here, right? So, okay, Aegir takes out the Donskoy, and you're like, oh, man, he's only got, 2,300 hit points, though. But it turns out he's only going to need 1 hit point. So Slava's coming, man. Slava's coming like a character in a horror movie. You can't stop him. I mean, he's so slow, but there's not enough time for the Reds to win on points. There's also too much time left in the game. The Hawaii is not fast enough or nimble enough to get away, especially because he's facing towards the Slava. So if he tries to back up, he's not going to make it around the other side of the island. Honest to God, I don't know what I would have done if I was the Hawaii. I mean, this is where this is one of the few times when I'm reminding the Slava, if he rams him, we win, because we have 2 ships, right? This is what I meant when I said the Aegir only needs 1 hit point. So I don't know what I would do if I was in the Hawaii. This is one of the few instances where actually it would be better to be in the Smolensk, because the Smolensk has torpedoes. So the Hawaii, if he was a Smolensk, could have torpedoed him. The Hawaii doesn't have torpedoes. So, and the Slava could probably take this guy just with his guns. But you see me advocating down there for him to ram him, because that's a guaranteed win, right? So the way World of Warships works is if everybody on one team dies, it doesn't matter what the state of the game or anything else, assuming, and I say this because this happened in one of my videos, you can watch, I forget which ship it is, but in one of my games, I lose despite the fact that everyone on the other team dies. You'll have to watch the game to figure out how that happens. But generally speaking, if everybody on one team dies, the other team wins the game. And that's what happened here. So really good game. Smolensk is still a really fun ship. Obviously, it's almost impossible to get a hold of these days. If you want the Smolensk experience, but you can't find a Smolensk, the Hawaii is a sort, I mean, it's not the same, but it's probably the closest you'll get. And yeah, I'm glad I was able to bring that game to you. I think it was a really interesting one. I'll see you in the next video.